ho, ho, we got some Division II championship football to get to, man. Listen, we got the CIAA and the SIAC conference championship games happening this weekend, man. And I want to get to both of them in this video, man. Now, the first game that I want to get to is the CIAA championship game. Got Johnson C. Smith versus Virginia Union. Now, both of these teams played against each other, I think the third or fourth week of the season. And this was when they were both ranked. I mean, listen, they both ranked now. But they were both ranked then, and they're both ranked now. Smith was on the road to Union. I think Union won 28-10. And mind you, I think Smith offensively looks a little different then than it does now. Their leading receiver, Brian Lane, I don't think played in that game. He ain't played in the game. So I think this game could go a little different, at least offensively. And he could be the key. He could be the key in that game. And I don't think Brandon Smith had a whole lot of carries in that game either. So listen, like I said, this game ain't gonna go like how it did last week, the last time they played. Now, both these two teams are the top two scoring offense and defense in the conference. Both have the top two rushers in the conference, especially with Curtis Allen. Listen, Virginia Union, this guy Curtis Allen, man. Of course, y'all saw he broke the single season school record for the most rushing yards in a single season with, I think, 2,068. And he has 27 total touchdowns, or just rushing touchdowns, period. And I ain't gonna lie, them stats that he has, it is clearly, it is very identical to what Jalen Byers did just last year. He just has a little bit more rushing yards, but he got the same amount of touchdowns that Byers got last year. And this offense runs through him. Oh my goodness. This offense for some reason, nobody has been able to do it yet. Now, Smith done the best job on Union, and I think he had the least amount of yards that he had all season, which was over 100 yards. But he had like 103, 104 yards, but he had 4 touchdowns. Now, keep in mind, in the last game, with all of Union's touchdowns came off of a big pass play or off of a special teams play. Now, keep in mind, in the first half of that game, mind you, in the entire game, the quarterback RJ, he was only 5 for 12. He only had 5 completions the entire game, but he had over 130 yards. Now, keep in mind, the majority of those completions was 50-yard games, 40-yard games. So all of their pass completions ended in the red zone, and then that's when Curtis Allen could actually eat in the red zone. That's where the majority of Virginia's touchdowns came from, which came from after a big play on offense or an interception, with an interception that led to a touchdown. So I think this game could go differently. Now, mind you, last week, Virginia Union beat Virginia State off of RJ completing 3 passes for 46 yards. Union won the game. Matter of fact, Union won quite a few games this year with less than 100 yards passing, behind Curtis Allen, 200-yard rushing and 250 yards rushing with 3 touchdowns. Like, this team, now, the one thing that I will say about Union is that they don't turn the football over. RJ, he only has 6 interceptions. And, mind you, he don't do a lot of heavy lifting on his team at all. Matter of fact, he only has 2 games in which he's thrown the ball 20 times or more. Matter of fact, 7 or 8 games. Matter of fact, he only has 3 games in which he has 10 completions or more. The rest of the games, 9 completions, 3 completions, 5 completions. Like, this team, they don't pass the ball at all. Now, mind you, keep in mind, the quarterback, RJ, he's 5'7". So this is a short guy who can barely see over his offensive lineman. So y'all know he ain't throwing the ball across the middle like that. He can barely see. The majority of their plays, passing the ball, is deep, going deep, one-on-one, because they know that they have, like, the defense will have an extra safety coming down for them to play the run. So that's how the majority of their offense operate. They're going to rely on their defense to bring another safety down to play the run, and then when it's time for them to pass, it's one-on-ones on the outside. Damn near every time. He only, I mean, listen, mind you, like I said, they have a +6 turnover margin. So this team takes care of the ball, and they play really good defense. Like, I ain't gonna lie, like they're number one in scoring defense, number one in rush defense. I think they're top 3 in pass defense. They're top 2 in sacks. They take the ball away a lot. So this Union team is for real. Now, for Smith, you know, they had a very tough road, man, to get to where they at. Last year, they lost their last 2 games that prevented them from being where they are. And these last 2 weeks, they showed me something. Especially after, you know, the way they played against Fayetteville State. Now, mind you, Fayetteville State is kind of offensively challenged at times, but defensively, they are extremely tough, especially in the front 7. And for Johnson C. Smith to get past that and win it in the final seconds, now mind you, it was a low-scoring game when Smith normally averages about 35 points a game. But for them, you know, but for Fayetteville State to do what they did to Smith, and for Smith to still come out that game victorious, it shows me a lot about this team. And, you know, for them to beat, and the way defensively, the way they play Livingstone in the last 3 quarters, you know, I think it definitely shows me that this team is very prepared. Now, granted, they have a quarterback in Calvin Durham who can make tough throws. Matter of fact, he broke the single season school record at Smith for the most passing yards in a single season. You know, I think he has over 2,400 yards with 20 touchdowns and 7 interceptions. Now, mind you, Bobby Smith can run the ball too. And this team in general, they only have 1 lost fumble all year. So they take care of the ball too. So I think this game is gonna go a lot differently than it did the first time, because the last time for Smith, in order for Smith to win this game, they're gonna have to prevent the big time throws that RJ could potentially make. Especially with them knowing that they're going to get a lot of one-on-one coverage when it's a pass play. And if I'm on defense, or if I'm the defensive coordinator for Smith, it's going to be a lot of cover 3 and a lot of cover 1, because I want to make sure that I contain, and I'll go with a 4-6 front, or I probably wouldn't even do nickel. You know what I'm saying? I hope you just have an athletic linebacker, an athletic outside linebacker, and it's going to work. But, you know, that's the only way you're going to beat this Union team is, listen, if you take Curtis out the game, you got a chance. You have to force RJ to play. Sorry. You have to force RJ to play quarterback. You got to force him. You know, and he don't make a lot of mistakes, and he will contribute in the run game as well. RJ does contribute in the run game. So, I ain't going to lie to you. I might have Smith in the upset. I might have him. I don't know just yet. Listen, I don't know. I think it's tough. I do think that if Smith is able to contain the run game of Union, forcing RJ to pass, man, that's going to be difficult because ain't a lot of teams that did it. It's not a lot of teams that did it. And the way Smith has played in these last few weeks, man, especially defensively, showed me a lot, man. I ain't going to lie to you, but I definitely have Smith. I think I have Smith winning this game in the upset. I think so. But, all right, so moving on, man. Albany State versus Benedict. Now, they also played a few weeks ago together or against each other. This was not a pretty game for Benedict. I think Albany State ended up winning 31-3, but it was 31-0 going into the fourth quarter, and they only kicked the field goal to prevent them from getting shut out. But this Albany State team defensively is ferocious. They have a star on each level on the defense. Their secondary is locked down. Now this is a heavy run team. They have 4 different running backs that can get the job done. Especially one of them, Sincere, who is coming back from an injury or something, but he only played 4 or 5 games this year, and he's played the last 2 games, so he's starting to get back into the swing of things, But this Albany State team uses about 4 different running backs, and they all run the ball. Starting with, let me see, Wyatt, who's I think who's an all-conference performer. They also have Thomas, and who else? McCray as well, who he had over 86 yards rushing last week against Fort Valley State. So listen, I've seen the way this team plays, man, and listen, and with Isaiah Knowles won Offensive Player of the Year in the SIAC, so kudos to him. And he plays well all the time. And so they're going up against the Benedict. Now, mind you, both of these teams play well defensively. They both can run the ball. They both have a running back who's all conference. And they both defensively, they both can get to the quarterback, and they both force turnovers. The big separator in this game is the battle between Knowles and Ocean. Darius Ocean. Darius Ocean got to step up in this game. He has to. Like that player right there is going to be the key factor between winning and losing this game, because I promise y'all, he has not played. He has been middle of the pack all year long. Matter of fact, in the last 2 games, including against Albany State, he's thrown less than 150 yards with 2 touchdowns and 6 interceptions in the last 3 games. Throwing under 50% in the last 3 games. Mind you, he only had 54 yards passing against Virginia Lynchburg. That was a homecoming game against Lynchburg. That's not gonna win you a whole lot of games against better competition. Mind you, Benedict won games winning 10-0, 10-3. Like, they've had low scoring games that Benedict has won. Keep in mind, up until when they played against Albany State, they were undefeated. They were 7-0 by the time they ran up against Albany State. And like I said, ever since that game, man, the last 3 games, it's been a struggle passing the ball. Especially the game last week against Savannah State. It was a struggle for them to move the ball the majority of the game. It took them 1 quarter. It took them 4 quarters to score 7 points, but it took them 2 overtimes to score 10. So listen, this offense. Listen, Darius Ocean, he's gonna have to be the player to make a difference in this game because I know what Isaiah knows is gonna do. He's been doing it the majority of the year. I know what the running game of Albany State is going to do. They've been playing very well. Listen, they just put up 48 points last week against Fort Valley. So I have no doubt of what Albany State will bring to the table. The issue for me is going to be, sorry, the issue that I have, or the question I have is, what is Darius Ocean going to do at quarterback? Because if Darius Ocean ain't completing his passes and he's turning the ball over, this team has no chance. And granted, I still think they'll make the playoffs even with a loss to Albany State, but it's how bad the loss is going to be. I have Albany State winning this game. I do have it closer than it was, but the running game is going to have to get going. Like, the running game is going to have to be a key factor in this game. Tristan Morgan, he's going to have to be the bell cow in this game. So we'll see what happens, man. But Israel Nokua, the D lineman, with 19 and a half tackles for loss, he's gonna need to step the game up as well. So listen, they have some dogs on defense for Benedict. They got some dogs on defense. So I have no doubt in my mind that Benedict defensively will play better. So we'll see what happens, man. But I do have Albany State winning this game. But listen, I think both of these games are going to be extremely exciting to watch. I think the CIAA championship game is going to be played on HBCU Go. So if you don't want to see me react to it, you can at least check the full game out over there. So it's going to be exciting. I can't wait to watch it.